Welcome to another exciting episode of Fans in Motion, the Ultimate Night Ranger podcast. And as Andy would say if he was here, the ultimate the podcast you didn't know you needed. So, of course, you know who I am, and you know who Brent is. But with us today is a very special guest, the man, the myth, the legend, all-around gentleman, Mr. Norman Voss from the Brett. Oh,
let's start it off with a little Night Ranger.
A little bit of ATVPO.
That's great. You what, I still, let's start off with some Night Ranger. Actually, I know you didn't say it. I'm already changing things because of Dawn Patrol is what, 82, I think.
1982.
I was such a big Thin Lizzy fan when I was growing up. UFO, Thin Lizzy, Judas Priest, all of it. But then I heard the Night Ranger. 82. That's still pretty so early. And Eddie's coming out tonight. The double leads at the end. Like, what an amazing thing! And then at that, Ari is so young. That's when Brad Gillis, another guy. I know these certain guitar players like Uli Roth. He was always good from the day one. It seems like the first record they had their style,
Yep.
Yeah. And to still be doing it today is just amazing. So, anyways, thank you for having me on.
Hey, yeah. Well, thank you for joining us. And you are correct. When I was coming back from Nashville a couple weeks ago, I was just going through some Night Ranger songs that you hear all the time, so you necessarily don't play. And I was going through some of, Eddie's coming out tonight, and I was just thinking, man, for 40 years old, it still sounds fresh.
True.
And, and you can't say that about everything that came out 40 years ago or 10 years ago, for that matter. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Norm, you are the guy holding down the bottom end in the Bret Michaels band. And of course, we'll eventually get to it. But Night Ranger and the Bret Michaels band are going to be storming all around the USA this summer.
Yeah, rocking down the highway.
Hey.
Jack Blades, come on. Keep it down tonight, man. I'm trying to sleep. Wait, is that crazy? That's just crazy. I'm so happy, man. Right, we played with them in Key West the first time I played with them, and it was the Rock Island, January of 21.
Yep.
And they went on right before us, and it was Steel Heart and Firehouse, and then Winger. So by the way, I'm out there jamming out to all these bands all day long. And finally, Night Ranger's playing, and they're so great. And then I started sort of freaking out, like, man, I feel weak. Like, I'm nervous, and I expelled all my energy during the day. I said, I got to go sit down. And so halfway through Night Ranger, I went to the camper thing and I did a video, I don't know if you ever saw, of me in the camper while Night Ranger's playing in the background. I'm like, I can't believe where I am, And then the next time was at the Ohio Balloon Fest. Were you there?
I was.
Right.
Yeah, the Ohio Balloon Fest, where I did not see a single balloon. But right. I guess you could blame it on the wind that day or something.
Did you not see it though? One went up and then almost crashed pretty quickly.
We were leaving.
Well, they shot it down.
Yeah.
It looked like it, right?
We were
you there, Brent?
No, I wasn't able to go to that show, but I saw a picture. I saw your picture of you front row rocking out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Okay. I forgot about that, because then I'm like, listen, it's so funny. So we're backstage, and I don't know. Anyways, I just couldn't help myself, because first I'm on the side of the stage, and everyone up front says, come on. I was like, you know what? If I'm being invited, then I'm going. And what was so great, by the way, and I'm just front row, headbang, have the time of my life. And not a right or wrong, but then towards the end, I don't know if you remember, Jack Blake's like, hey, come on up. I'm like, I was like, I'm not coming up on stage. But so nice of him, because I never met him. I didn't meet him the first time we got together. I didn't meet him only after that show. I met him just for a second, just to say, hey, can I get a picture with you? You know? So cool of him.
Well, I think you guys are going to have a few minutes this summer to actually get to know each other. So, Norm, where did this all kick off for you, man? Where were you born and raised?
Yeah, in Virginia, Dale City, Virginia, which is just 30 miles south of Washington, D.C. Um, and that's sort of a weird thing about the whole Bret Michaels band, because about 20 years ago, he toured through here. Manassas is like 20 miles away from Dale City. And Pete Evick's band opened up, Evick. And he said, can we open up the rest of the tour up the coast? And he goes, yeah. And then he, at the end, he goes, man, I got hired guns. I want a real band like you. So he took Evick and made it his band. Bret did. And he said the first show, Pete said they sucked. And Bret goes, man, because he didn't expect to be in front of 20,000 people. And he played it like the record. And Bret said, do it more live. Let's do it more live. So Bret called him and said, hey, I'm already jumping to a different story. Sorry. Bret called and just said, how did you think that went? And he said, terrible. And he goes, good. At least you know it was terrible. You're right. We're opening up for Skinner next weekend. Be ready this time. So that was 20 years ago. So I'm from Dale City. He's from Manassas. That's why I'm sort of even have joined the band, A Future Story. But anyways, grew up in just a typical high school partying, rock and roll, Motley. I remember the first Motley Crue record coming out. My brother's 4 years older, so he had like the first Y&T albums and the Lizzy albums. Then I got into the UFO albums. And then, so at my first concert, I think it was 1982, because when Randy Rhoads died, because we went to go see Ozzy 2 months later when Brad Gillis was on guitar.
Wow.
That was my first concert. And I think UFO was opening up. And that was my first turn on to this. I got to get into this band UFO more. And that's when I fell in love with them too. So isn't that funny? The very first thing, it was Brad Gillis. And then, so my brother had the Speak of the Devil live 8-track. Is it called Speak of the Devil? That live album that Brad Gillis did?
Yeah.
That was my first really listening to a guitar player on an album. You know, how old is age? Like, I'm 56.
Well, I was 13, 15? So you were 15, yeah.
15,
I'm 54.
Okay, yeah.
Brent,
so I was just loved it.
Brent, what was the big venue there in DC? Was that Largo?
Yes, Cap Center.
Cap Center. Okay.
So I'm at the Cap Center. It was like an hour and a half drive. One of our friends' dads drove us up there. That's right. Stayed in the car. Anyways, that was my experience. Like, got back in the car, like, that was the greatest thing I've ever been to in my entire life. I just want to be like that, be a part of that whenever I could, you know. And then that never happened until now.
Did you grow up and graduate and everything there in Virginia?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Still here too.
That had to be a great place because you got DC, you got Baltimore, you got Richmond. I mean, all the bands are going to come through there. And it isn't like you're growing up in Maine or, North Dakota, hoping they hit Minot or some shit.
We'd go see, because Kix was our local band, and we'd go see them all the time in DC and then at Hammerjacks.
Hammerjacks, yes.
Yeah. I can't believe I would drive like 2 hours. I know I was drinking, and somehow I made it home the next day, or not the next day. That night, we'd just drive home. Didn't have the money for a hotel.
Well, back in those days, it's like, if it was a 2-hour drive, I used, tell my friends we only got to drive there because we won't remember coming back. So,
right, yeah. But then around 1987, so then I went through college here, and funny, I got a video from 1987 of my college band playing Talk Dirty to Me, actually. Talk Dirty to Me. So I have video of it. So it was so great when I first joined Brent, because I had a video of me playing from 1987, one of my 20 years old, I think, playing Talk Dirty to Me in the bar. Terrible local band, kind of, you know what I mean? But we thought we were on top of the world. And then it goes to me playing with Brett in like Seattle or something.
That's
same
amazing.
song, same spot in the song.
Did you see Poison back there in the 80s or the 90s at all?
Yeah, I saw them 2 or 3 times, but mostly I remember, I think it was they did a tour with Rat
Yep.
And I think that was 96 or something. That was that one. I love that Rat album, but it didn't do well at all. I can't remember. But
What, Dancing Undercover? Or are you talking
no,
about?
no.
Oh no, you're talking about Infestation. Is that right?
If he's
Oh no, I wish.
Are you talking about the what year? 90s, 96?
6 or so, where they had that one album.
That was either Collage or Rat.
Yeah, the self-titled yellow and black cover.
The self-titled,
yeah.
like John Kalodner signed into the label or something. Right.
Yep.
I love that album. So anyway, that wasn't their best.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Jack Blades has a co-write on that.
Oh really?
Yeah, Reckoning. Track 7, I think. Reckoning or something. Dead Reckoning or something like that.
Dead Reckoning, yes. Oh man, really? That's cool.
If you look, there's like 8 songwriters on there. From what I understand, he submitted like 2 lines or something, but it is a co-write.
It counts.
Yep.
Buddy.
So when did you first what instrument did you're listening to Ozzy and all these bands, what instrument did you first gravitate to?
Oh, guitar. Yeah. So it's so funny, me and my 2 other guys, we were really into Devo. Freedom of Choice album was out, and the Beatles, and he had some spoons on the wall, and we were 13, and other friends were playing guitar, so we just started first acting like we were in a band. Then we got real guitars, and first we were like, oh, we're gonna be punk rock, because I didn't even know how to tune the guitar. But then I do remember when I think, was that 79 when Def Leppard's first album came out, by the Wasted. So we had Wasted, like, this song is so cool. That was sort of like the first hard rock song got into, and then just from there, just and then I never sang for a long time, and then I started like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna start singing too. That's what, then I started the Storm and Norman band. So
so the Storm and Norman band, I mean, that you guys had some good regional success. Talk a little bit about how that all got together, and is that something you're still doing, or?
Yep. We played this last weekend. It was great, smash packed. I love it.
Yeah, so, I love the little kid you had on stage.
Oh, you saw that? Okay, yeah. Yeah, he was too cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Funny though. It was so funny. Earlier in the night, he had both the horns at me while from his table. So I thought he might be headbanging if I brought him up on stage, but then he just froze.
Yeah, he did.
Funny.
But he'll remember it the rest of his life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I've had this band. I started Storm and Norman. Used to be Storm and Norman Fiasco in '97 or something. No, it was Storm and Norman and the Hurricanes. We were a '50s band. That's right.
A '50s band.
And then I said, you know what? Not everyone wants to see '50s. So I said, I'm in the '90s. Let's be a '90s band. So I switched it to Storm and Norman Fiasco. Started doing all those great '90s songs. And then I started. Recently, I got on all this whole reggae rock scene. Because we started doing all the river bars where I live, Potomac River, we would play them. And there's an island in the middle of the river. And once a year, we have this thing where 300 boats all come out. So you got to come by boat only. Because did you guys ever see that video?
Mm.
No. I'll have to send it to you or so. Great video of this amazing event. So we got in the paper for that. And then also recently in Fredericksburg, they had a noise ordinance. So our band had a protest against the noise ordinance in downtown Fredericksburg, and we won. So that was in the paper a lot. So, and we're just a fun band. We're just a party band, and I think, and sort of now to maybe if you want to lead into joining Brett Michaels' band so much later.
Well, I want to also touch on, so, you're doing, Storm and Norman band, you're doing that through the '90s and the 2000s. What was what job did you have that was paying the bills?
Oh, you know what? Well, yeah. In 1984, my mom got me a job for the federal government, working for the Naval Sea Systems Command. Started as a clerk typist, and I just have always had that work all my way up. And it's funny, I remember in 1996, I was in a punk rock band. We're called the Meat Men, a well-known punk rock band. If you ever look up the Meat Men, but we would tour the country. We toured with Guar several times. And at one point they said, hey, I think we're going to get a record deal. Drummer, you quitting your day job? I'm quitting. Basically, you quitting. Norman, you quitting? I ain't quitting. I was like, I know where I'm getting paid. And we broke up 6 months later.
Really?
So, and I've been working for the Marine Corps, financial guy. Oorah. So fortunately, because of all that, I might even be retiring this year.
Wow.
So, things go as planned.
Do you get paid on the GS scale?
Yep.
All right.
13.
There you go.
It's so funny. I had a chance to be at 14. I was like, okay, that's going to be putting on a suit and tie and going into work every day. And I didn't get the job. And that was like also right around soon after where I got the offer for Brett. I was like, oh, I'm so glad I didn't get that position.
Yeah, definitely. Because I'm GS employee too, and it definitely is a job you don't want to quit, and it does make it nice where if you want to do a weekend adventure, you're able to do that.
Yeah. So they're really cool with me right now too, because maybe I shouldn't talk about this too much on here, but it doesn't matter. But because I'm able to work from the road, because I said, hey, I got to leave. I can take off leave, but don't call me if you need any help. Or I'm sitting in a hotel all day, and I've been working from home anyways. I'm gonna just work from in the hotel room. So it's been working. It's all worked out great.
That's fantastic.
So so you're doing the GS work, and you're doing the Storm and Norman band. How does Mr. Bret Michaels of Poison enter your life?
Right. So like I was saying, how Pete, who I've known also for 20 years, my wife and I were talking the other day. I think he didn't tell us, but one time we sat at a bar. It was the only back then we sat and, hey, you're Pete Evan, right? Yeah, and you're Norman, or Storm and Norman, right? And I said, yeah, let's have a drink. They're about to play. And it was like 2 months before or 2 months after, I can't remember now, where Brett gave him the offer. So I've known Pete that long, since he's been playing with Brett. Although for not even till, so that must be like 2003, 2004, something like that. It wasn't Rock of Love like 2012, because I didn't even know Pete was really in Brett until Rock of Love or something. Like I was just on the peripheral. I didn't understand or something. Can't remember.
Rock of Love would have been, and the people will correct us if I'm wrong, I would say somewhere 2006, 7, 8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I didn't know at the time.
Well, and maybe it continued on longer than that, but
3 seasons or so. Yeah. Rock of Love years. So, there's probably going to be something else going to come up.
Yeah.
Oh no, so 2007. You're right. 2007, 2009. Yeah.
And then we had Daisy of Love after that.
Oh, there was a million after that, right? Oh, my wife and I, we were just every Sunday we'd make White Russians, and like The Entertainer was one. There was just so many different things. Oh, the School of Rock. I can't remember. Where the school.
Surreal Life or something like that, was that on there? Then the weight loss one.
Yeah. Flavor Flav and Bridget Nielsen.
Yeah.
Brigitte.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord, that was crazy.
Oh, back in the day. So anyways, I said, oh, that is Pete in the band. So, but in the last couple of years, even more so, we would hang out more. He has his candle, Shining Soul Candles. I was making commercials for his candle company. And so we would just hang out more because we were doing that. And then I'd go to his candle shop, play. He said, come play in the shop, play in the street. And I did. And then he has his band Epic still to this day. So there was one show that his guitar player couldn't do. So he says, hey, Norm, who should I hire? Should it be Danny Watts or this other guy? And I said, neither. He goes, well, what do you mean neither? I said, you should hire me. He goes, oh, you? Okay. I don't know. He just didn't even think about it. So, and I was going to do a wedding, and I didn't do the wedding because I thought he might ask. So he asked me, and I DJ weddings myself because he had me play at a wedding with his band. And so the wedding went great, and I learned, he gave me like 35 songs. He gave me 24 songs even to learn. And I said, there's no originals. You guys got a lot of great originals. Because I don't want to give you originals. I said, send me the originals. He sent me a dozen originals. So I learned like 35 songs. Because, when you know who you want to impress, Mm-hmm. So he goes, after the gig, he goes, man, because he put the guitar down. He goes, I didn't even have to play guitar. You had it all so down. And that's from my past of just wanting to learn. I love to learn songs. It's like a challenge, to have to ear it, because that's how I was in high school. You had to ear it and stuff, and it was neat when you got it. Success kind of thing. And so then all of a sudden, that was in May of 21. So fast forward to August of 21. And so this was Tuesday, August 25th. And a little backstory on that day, on that Friday, I was supposed to play this beach bar. And I was psyched about it. I love the place. And I got a call from my booking agent, said, "Hey, bad news. The show Friday's canceled." I said, "Man, it's canceled. What happened?" And she goes, "Oh, man, they just don't like you. They just decided they don't like you." And I was like, "Oh, that's okay. All right, I can take that." And he hangs up, and I stand there with the phone in my hand, so dejected. Like, why am I doing a 55-year-old man still trying to play guitar, kind of thing. And the phone rings, and it's Pete. He says, "Hey, what are you doing Friday?" And I thought he made it set up, because he books through the same booking agent sometime. I thought he was even joking. I said, "Nothing now. Why?" Waiting for the punchline. He goes, "You want to play in Oregon?" I said, "Oregon? Why?" Yeah. He goes, "Well," I said, "With who?" He goes, "With Brent Michaels." I said, "Sounds like a play." I said, "Yeah." And I was this lead guitar player with Evic, and I've always been a lead guitar player, but I played in that punk rock band for a while. I played bass for a couple months also. So I said, "Yeah, let's do it." So there was 2 days. I'm sorry, I'm going to make this a longer story. So
that's all right. Keep going.
Yeah. The next day, I learned all this. He calls me and he goes, "Hey, have you learned the songs?" I said, "Yeah, I've learned all the songs. I'm ready, actually." Because why don't you come by tonight and let's go through them at he has this little candle making place, like a big garage. So I said, "Okay." And I was actually singing at a senior home that day. So I had my whole PA in the car and all the equipment from that. So, because I didn't know I thought it was me and him just with nothing. But right before I get there, he goes, "Man, I think I forgot to tell you, Brett's going to be here." I said, "What?" I forgot to tell me. Okay. Maybe it was for the better.
You're right.
So it was so great because I show up, and Mary, the drummer, who is also from Manassas, because even though the original Evic that joined Brent Michaels 20 years ago, everyone's gone, but Pete and Rob, actually, keyboard player, the other people he always gets are always still from Manassas area. So she was in the garage also, and we just jammed like we were a high school band, playing Poison songs, but with Brent singing them. And he was dancing. I was really impressed that night because he's just not like how he is on stage. He was just getting into the songs, and I could not believe that for a guy who's been playing his own songs for 35 years. Can still get into them when no one's watching, when he's trying, when he's actually having a guy try out for him,
Mm-hmm. Had to be surreal.
Right. So he left afterwards, and me and Mary were just there packing up. I'm like, I said, that was surreal.
That's funny you're telling that story. And I read an interview with you about joining the band, and you were talking about him dancing. And it was funny because right away my mind went to The Masked Singer when he was the banana. My wife and my daughter would watch that show religiously, and they called me upstairs and said, "Who's this banana guy?" And right away I'm like, "Oh, that's Brent Michaels." I could tell by the way he was moving.
Oh, that's so great.
But no, he doesn't go through the motions at all.
Yeah, no, right.
I think he's true to what he is. Right. He's a great front man.
That's what I love. That's what I'm amazed about all of these. Name me a band. I don't know. Maybe we should, maybe we shouldn't. But all the bands that I'm into, like the Night Rangers, all these bands, they're seems like they're into it because they still love what they do. Especially the ones who still record and release music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why we're playing with Billy Idol. I'm blowing my mind, Billy Idol, and he's just released a new 4-song EP, and it's great.
Mm-hmm.
To still have that artistic drive.
Yeah,
it's just awesome.
How did that first show in Oregon go?
Anyway, great. So yeah, it was in this landed in I can't remember that city. Portland. Sorry, Portland. And it was another hour and a half drive to the venue, and it's this casino in the middle of nowhere, but all pine trees. And the stage was outside, and it was just beautiful sunny day. And the sound check. So Brent came out for the sound check. And again, just to make sure everything's right. And tell you what, so here's the weird thing about the band, because I've known the keyboard player since high school, Rob, since high school. And I know Mary, the drummer, for 15 years. I told Pete about Mary that he should have her play drums because she's such a great singer also, and just a powerhouse on drums. So I've known her for 15 years. She used to be my drummer in Storm and Norman band sometimes. And I've known Pete for 20 years. So it was almost like I'm with some kind of old friends and this one guy I don't know who's the star. Yeah. And the light guy, Ken, I've known since like from the 90s. So there was just so many people who, so it was all sort of comfortable. I wasn't. So there's a picture of me. I have a beer and a book on James Monroe, because I was studying up on President James Monroe, his life, because he's from where I live, Fredericksburg. And it's a half hour before the show. And I just thought, I better get to the stage. I knew it was a 10-minute walk, but I still thought, I'm going to be on stage in a half hour. Maybe I should be over there.
Yeah.
So it was very, I was just very calm, or not nervous at all. Later, other shows, I have been nervous sometimes, you know, but I don't know.
Now,
went great though. No mess ups at all. It was awesome.
When you were, first brought on, was it just for a few select shows, or what, were you, just replacing someone for a few shows, or what was were they looking for someone permanent?
If you don't know, Eric Brittingham from Cinderella was the bass player. What? And but that happened on a day, on a Tuesday that you play on a Friday, because he thought he had COVID. He said, I'm sick as a dog, or from what I've heard from Pete and others, and he had to get tested, but he still hadn't gotten the results. And I think that also just sort of freaked him out so much, though, that he sort of said, this was August of 21. He's around, I think he's 60, or I can't remember. I don't know. But anyways, he decided, rightfully so, I'm going to sit out the rest of the year type of thing. And I think I don't know, Eric. All I know is Eric said, you can use my bass. I'll enjoy it and have a great time. He was nothing but nice to me. And I think he's a very relaxed, enjoys his life kind of. I've been touring for 35 years. I need to relax a little bit more type of guy. It's what I get from all this. So, I'm just happy to be where I am. But, I just enjoy it all and count every day as a blessing.
Yeah. So life is good. You got the good job during the week. You get to hop on a jet airplane on the weekend and go play Rockstar. And so let's get a little bit into this. Well, one thing, before I get into the upcoming tour, you mentioned something briefly. You talked about having maybe some equipment or something at the senior home. Tell us a little bit what you were doing there.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think it's funny. On my iPod, I have Wonderful World Karaoke, which is the Louis Armstrong song, which is the song I always end with every time. And I only play that song, Karaoke, Wonderful World, when I'm singing at a senior home. And it's been played over 1,000 times. So I think over the last, coming up on, 20 years, going to senior homes once a week type thing. Then COVID killed it all. But it's just, just, I don't know. Oh, you know what first got me? I was playing at a Jimmy Buffett type bar doing acoustic, and an activities director said, hey, will you come down the street and play it? I'm an activities director for a senior home, and I'd love to have you there. And so I said, sure. And I went, and that's what actually got me into. Then I started singing Sinatra and Elvis and stuff. And then because of that, I started, my wife was the bass player in Storm and Norman band, and she became pregnant with our daughter 17 years ago. And I thought, she's not going to want me to go to the bars anymore and play with the band. So I started doing weddings, did over 500 weddings, because I would sing Sinatra during the cocktail hour, in my tuxedo and a drink, like being all cool with my 50s mic. I still love doing that. I'm doing that on Valentine's Day down at a bar down the street. So, I love it. I love it. I love it all.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions for you about your one. How do you make the time, and where do you get all the energy? Because since you joined the page, I've noticed that I think you walked an old woman across the street, and then you went to her house and sang for her. I saw the wedding stuff. I saw recently how you had to get that song for the funeral that you just did.
Oh, in the day, yeah.
Yeah.
Brent, I got to send you my comedy stuff. Have you ever seen my comedy stuff? Full on Frank TV show or the band skits I've done?
I saw something that you did over the weekend about the making the drummer drink.
Yeah. Or getting in the fight. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We got this whole. What's your last name? Brent?
Walter.
All right. Okay. Of course, it's right there. Because we're friends on Facebook, you said, right? So I'll send you some of that stuff. I think you'll enjoy it. And I do all this history videos, but you know what? I don't watch. I guess I don't watch a lot of TV. I don't know. I got. No, I guess I have drive.
I saw you interviewing some local musician talking about Jimmy Page, watching him play.
Right. Is that crazy?
And I'm thinking this guy has just got his hands in everything.
Sure. That's a crazy story. Yeah. How awesome would that be?
now with that, I don't remember the musician's name, but that same scenario for you. Has there been somebody that you've admired? I mean, incredibly admired, and they were there watching you play, and
yeah. Well, again, the Night Ranger thing was great in itself. It was the best, or at least that I admired them playing. But with that, we got to play with Last in Line because I was such a Dio head, and to them to play in Dio songs with I'm sorry, not Jimmy Bain. He passed away, unfortunately.
Vivian.
Phil Suzanne and Vivian. So and Phil and boy, I was the biggest Mob Rules Heaven and Hell Black Sabbath fan too. So with Vinny Appice and Vivian, and I was so Phil Suzanne, who wrote "Shot in the Dark" for Ozzy, he came out and Vinny came out afterwards, and they were just so that was my moment of, because they were like, man, cool. You guys were great, loved it, yeah. Nicest guys, yeah. So I'm such a big 80s metal fan too. I've done 7 Monsters of Rock cruises before I even joined Bret Michaels, because I don't know if you guys have ever done it. If you can do it, give it a shot, man. It's so fun. So that was sort of helped me out, like meeting. So everyone's walking around the ship, everyone's cool with each other. It's like, hanging out with Came Me Down, Faster Pussycat, all that, Nuno Betancourt's walking by, all that kind of stuff. Keith Hannon judged me in a guitar contest, sort of George Lynch. It's just so that sort of got me acclimated to hanging out with my heroes. You know what I mean? So,
and it's gotta be cool to go from being in the crowd to then being one of their peers. What did you think when you heard the initial rumblings of, hey, do you want to go out this summer and do a little tour with Jefferson Starship and Night Ranger?
Yeah.
That had to be a cool little piece of information to get that was being put together.
True. Oh yeah, that is actually, it's the first time for Bret. It's not Poison, it's Bret playing the Sheds. But then like having Night Ranger, and then sort of switching it up a little bit with I'm gonna actually, because you one of my now I'm gonna be playing some Jefferson Starship back in there. It's like, it's just classic, And I'm gonna hear that loud and live, I know I'm up to my heart. Just love it. Or Jay, this.
Yeah.
I just remember this in the back of my parents' car. Like, what's that? That sounds. The windows rolled down. Just such a great riffs.
Yep. And
we gotta wait. So what I loved was Jefferson Starship, White Rabbit, right? That's their song. I couldn't remember exactly, but then when I started realizing the songs they did, blown away.
Well, but I'm partial to the Mickey Thomas stuff.
Right? And I thought it was going to be him. At first, but now I realize it's not. Yeah.
But the girl that they got singing, and it's currently eluding my mind,
I saw her in that video the other day.
she's got some pipes.
Yeah.
She started out doing Love Janice on Broadway,
Oh.
where
Oh, that's where Hoekstra was doing.
yeah, Hoekstra started out with her, so she started
She's
doing
playing
that.
Janis Joplin. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. She
Oh,
would
cool.
do all of Janice's parts and stuff.
Wow.
But another thing that's really I'm really looking forward to is seeing Dave Friedberg, who was on all those classic Jefferson Starship records, because he's still out there doing it, and
Wow.
he is
That's great.
83 years old.
And what instrument does he play? Is he keyboard?
That was Paul Kantner.
Paul Kantner
Oh,
was
okay.
guitarist.
Oh, I thought Paul Kantner was keyboard. I'm
Well,
sorry.
one thing interesting about that band is they would switch all over the place. So Friedberg, you would see him sometimes playing bass. You'd see him on keys.
Okay,
You would see him on rhythm guitar. Kathy Richardson is the who's singing for them. But yeah, David Friedberg is. I take that back. He's 84.
Wow.
And he will be 85 in August.
Wow.
And he is still out there on the road, with them.
He was already old. Like he's like, hey, in 1967. Hey, Friedberg's a little old for us, isn't he?
he was in the last incarnation of Jefferson Airplane.
Okay, really?
Which fell apart, and then Katner and Grace and Marty Bolan went and formed Jefferson Starship, and Friedberg went over to that, and he was with them all the way up to when Katner left, and then he left, and then you got We Built This City and everything. But so he wasn't in that era when it was just Starship, but the drummer Donnie Baldwin was. So yeah, so 38, 48, 58, 68, 78. So yeah, he was 40 years old in 78, so he was in his 40s when these songs were just being released. But yeah, man, he's out there. He's out there kicking. And I'm the same way. I love those old Starship songs, Jefferson Starship, and Jane, and you could even go to grab the Red Octopus record and hear Miracles and
Miracle,
some of those old tracks. So what about we got Steve Augeri from Journey on that tour with you guys. What Journey's album or song did you really dig back in the day?
You know what? Well, this is interesting. It's funny because I just did a little video about Steve Augeri, because I was excited because I was not that into Journey. For me, because I was into Judas Priest and Iron Maiden, and they were a little bit too soft. But then when I got older, when Journey released an album called Arrival in 2003, I believe. And who was the singer? Steve Augeri. And I was like, wow, this is rocking. So that's where I just really started listening to Journey, was with him. So it's just so many great songs in that album. Here, I'm flipping around because it's quickly on my playlist. Anyway,
and I think
just came out.
I think Jack wrote, a good part of that record with Neil.
Yeah. You see, I got to write this down. I got something to talk about. What? Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Josh will educate you.
They must be buddies too.
You were talking about talking about maybe a new track by Steve.
He has a whole new album that just came out.
Album.
It's amazing too. It has that Journey sound that now I've grown older to, love it. But it's amazing. It's amazing. So really so excited about playing with him. Yeah, but and then it's unfortunately that's how it is with you want to have the fans have what they they want to hear the hits.
Right.
I'm gonna play real quick though. Here's a new Steve Augeri. Sort of a saxophone commercial type thing. With that voice. Takes a holiday. A heart needs to rest along the way. it's like a fine wine, you know. It's just like when someone can sing good like that, you feel the emotion. It's just, I love it. So yeah, we're supposed to at some point before we're gonna fly up to where he lives and go over Journey songs, fly out, I think to LA with Mark McGrath and go over the Sugar Ray stuff. So gonna be great.
What Sugar Ray track are you looking forward to hearing this summer?
You know, well they're like my band, we're more acoustic on the beat. Storm and Norman, we have heavy songs. We're gonna release a couple heavy songs next couple weeks. But I'm also into just having my toes in the sand with an acoustic guitar. So that's this whole vibe. Every one of their songs, you know, it's just so you're happy, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. But I've seen Mark McGrath. I've seen Sugar Ray live. We were second row. It was great, and I could not believe his energy. Tell you what, because he's another like Bret Michaels guy. He runs from one side to the other. He's interactive with the crowd. He's happy. You know, he's involved. You know, that's interesting. You have certain artists. That's what I gravitate to. Those type of artists. I really couldn't understand when the '90s when Nirvana came. They're just staring at their shoes. I'm like, what's going on? Like, I wasn't really a fan, kind of thing. You know.
When you got Bret Michaels, when you have Mark McGrath, Jack Blades. The only person I see like missing is Sammy Hagar. Like,
right.
You know, and right there you get them four, man. You got a party, it seems like.
Summertime.
And then Brett just released a new track, correct?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Has great, you know.
Yeah, definitely. It has a great kind of like a party feeling, which, you know, is kind of the theme of this tour. Tell us a little bit about that new
back
track.
in the day. Was it back in the day?
Back in the day,
yeah.
The radio played. Yeah, I remember we were driving to a show and Peaches, he goes, I want you to hear something, but he didn't say what it was at all. Played the whole thing and it was just a rough, I'll say, of the song. And I was like, man, I love it. So we got hopefully we're playing this weekend. I'm hoping to finally break it out this weekend. So yeah, it's so great of like I said earlier, these artists still putting out new music.
And what Night Ranger song, man, is your go-to Night Ranger song?
Well, you know, I have such a distinctive memory, and how old I was. I think it was 1982 then, of the video on MTV though. The video of, I should even now find it, of the double lead of they're on the airplane. Hold on, I'm sorry, I'm jumping around here, but and then the wind's blowing and he's playing. I'm just like, what's going on? I can't believe it. And it was, to me, that's why now I go, seeing that with the wind and like they're on a plane that's crashing or something, like that's what this song sounds like, and that's how they perform too. It's like they're going down. This might be the last day of their lives, and so anyways, that was the first one.
Yeah. And then you started it all off listening, you know, Bookshelf, or whatever the word I'm looking for. But starting with ATBPO, you were playing that, and another
good.
Yep. Well, the song I think you started playing was Breakout, and it just smacks you in the face right from the start as well.
Now, Norm, did you see them back when you were younger live?
You know what? No, I didn't. I can't. No, I don't think so. And you guys, I'm sure you guys probably know. Like, who did they tour with?
I saw them 40 years ago open for Kiss in the Creatures of the Night tour.
Oh, interesting. Kiss.
And I've told everybody on the page knows the damn story, but when I found out Night Ranger was opening for Kiss, I went out and bought Dawn Patrol. It was probably 2 weeks old when it came out, when I got it, because I wanted to know every song by them, because I'd already known Don't Tell Me You Love Me. And when I saw the video, I thought, what the hell is Ozzy's guitar player playing with Night Ranger? I that intrigued me so much, and I've been a fan since that day.
Wow, that's so cool.
But after that, after I saw them open for Kiss, the next year they were headlining.
Oh, really? Okay.
So they had bands like Taxi opening up. Who was what was his name? Tony
Carey.
Tony Carey. It's a fine day. I saw the outfield open for them.
Oh, wow.
But I know they were opening for bands like 38 Special.
Oh, okay.
And
they opened for ZZ Top.
ZZ Top, yep.
And then by 85 they were doing their own headlining shows. Like you said, outfield. I know Tesla opens up some for them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we got what 12 dates for the Parti-Gras tour in July and August. And there's a kind of a little bit of an outlier. I think it's called the Freedom Fest in Mount Gilead, like June 23rd, with the same lineup of Jefferson Starship, Night Ranger, and Bret Michaels band. When you guys are, rehearsing or sound checking, and let's just say it's one of those days where it just isn't going right, what song do you guys always go back to just to get that groove? Is there a certain...
It's funny. Pete always loves to, when we want to jam out, we'll jam out to some Van Halen, or he loves Bang Your Head by Quiet Riot, funnily enough, or Highway to Hell, AC/DC kind of thing. Yeah. But
what song do you enjoy playing? What's something you look forward to in the set list?
Well, we finished Something to Believe In. I always was like, whenever all those candles or even lighters, our phones light up.
Now it's phones,
phones light up. Everyone breaks out their candles. No, because that's just so very moving. I love that. But then we go right into Unskinny Bop, which starts out with a bass solo. So like, now I gotta jam out, and have my fun. So I love that. And always the end of the night, nothing but a good time, because then whoever might be, opening up for us will join us, or that kind of thing, So always a party.
Hopefully, Fallen Angel was on the set list. It was one of those songs I always liked.
Same here. Tell you what, though, we haven't played it in a while. I'm not even sure why, but we haven't played it in a while. That'd be great.
We're gonna have to get some blackmail on Brett so we can, get that going.
Change it up.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
So yeah, man. Do you ever have those moments where, maybe you're working from home, doing the GS13 stuff, and you just think, you know what, I'm in the Bret Michaels band.
True. Yeah. Of course, it's a dream come true type thing. I was talking to someone Saturday about how I'm going on this cruise, because we're playing on a cruise in less than 3 weeks or so, with Devo and Living Color, and I think Vixen Autograph, but all the Tone Loc, Morris Day and the Time, like all these bands that I've watched on TV. It's like I said to him, I was like, it's like I won a contest. I won a contest, and and guess what? On that cruise, I get to play with Bret Michaels twice. So it's all very awesome. It's all and I'm sure Night Ranger guys will tell you the same thing. It's also very hard. My old body ain't used to getting up after 2 hours sleep, because we got to get to the next airport. It's a long drive, then to drive and airport and drive, and sit around and wait.
Well, even something you said earlier, just, with me, with helping Night Ranger and stuff, you fly somewhere and then the venue's an hour and a half away. Right. It's just like, it's just
keep rolling.
And it amazes me that, these, Jack and Kelly and Brad, they're not spring chickens, and man, they're troopers, and they never phone it in, and it's always an amazing show. So
Yeah.
for those
Okay.
people out there listening, where's the best place to find everything they want to know about Mr. Storm and Norman? Where are you? What social media do you got out there?
Yeah, well, I'm Norman Voss on Facebook and on Instagram, or it's Storm and Norman Band on Instagram. And I got Storm and Norman Band on Facebook. I got somebody. I got Heroes of History on Facebook. I got Voss Cheers. When I go to Iceland or any other country, Europe, find all the party places. I got Frankie B on the Scene is sort of like the comedy channel. But Stormin' Troopers is my band sort of group page. But Norman Voss. But the thing is, I guess I'll ask everybody if you could just follow me because I'm always up to 5,000 people.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I gotta unfriend people. So follow me and see everything,
Yeah.
or message me and say, no, you'll find me interesting too.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Well, Brent will be on the chopping block to get the next person added to your list. What we'll do is you send me your collection of links, and we'll put them in the bio part here of of this podcast episode. That way, all you got to do is click below the screen, and we'll have all those links there. And wherever you want to go, you can go and click and join, and don't hit add friend, you add follow, because if you add friend, Brent will get the boot.
I got the axe. Is that because I missed you guys in Cincinnati 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, that was it.
I tried to make it to that show, but my daughter had to work, and she had to work till she works at a skating rink, and I had to pick her up like at 11:30, and there was just no way I could do it.
Good dad. That's good of you, man. Yeah. That was a great show. Great venue. I love that venue.
My city treat you good?
Oh yeah. It was awesome. I couldn't believe, it was the next day was when they were the big game,
Yeah.
Excitement in the air. I mean, that's for sure. Yeah. Brent was talking about the teams and stuff. Because I didn't even realize that Buffalo Bills guy, I guess, collapsed there in Cincinnati. They were playing them. He was just like, you got to hand it to you guys. You guys did that with utmost, I forgot the word now. Charisma, not charisma.
Respect.
Respect. Yeah, just treated it all well. So, and they all cheered him on. So,
and that's coming from a Pittsburgh fan.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Big time.
So I guess my question would be, Norm, are you the Orioles or the Nationals, or don't care?
Yeah, I'm not really a sports guy. I think I find it interesting. Different people who are into music. I'm used to say I'm in music or sports. I see. Yeah. But you guys are into both, I assume. Huh? So.
Yeah. Well, I guess I won't ask you about the either the Redskins or the Ravens, or what I say, the Commanders.
The Commanders.
There we go. Yeah. All right. So if you're listening, go click on the links, follow old Norm and the Storm and Norman pages. Make sure you go hit the Parti-Gras. There's a lot of dates out there. Mostly right now, I think everything's about east of the Mississippi. But there's no reason not to go. I mean, even if you you don't want to, I know some people, like with Night Ranger fans, it's going to be a little bit of a condensed set, but listen, you can get lawn tickets for like $25. Go have a party. You're going to enjoy it. You can't go wrong with Jefferson Starship, Night Ranger, and then all the Bret Michael and Poison hits.
And you're all gonna get together at the end of the night. Am I right?
A big jam. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing. So that could be awesome, man.
Yeah.
Can't wait. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, maybe a little tequila involved. You never
know.
Never know. Well, I look forward to seeing you out on the road this summer, Norm. Brent, do you got anything you want to say to Storm and Norman before we pull the plug?
Storm and Norman, thank you for coming on Fans of Motion. Thank you for not axing me yet off of your page. But, if you do, you're coming to Indianapolis this summer, I'll get you.
All right. Okay. Hey, I didn't even know you were on the page, and I'm happy to know. But that's right. You're the first one to message me.
Well, hey, don't feel bad. I have like only 700 friends, and I still asked him.
So let's finish it off with a little bit of Night Ranger.
There we go.
last song of the new album.
Oh, yes.
By the way, and didn't how long did Jack Blades play with Ringo Starr?
It wasn't too long. It was mainly the spring and summer of '98, I think. Yep.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got some good stories about that.
Yep.
I'm sure. I'm going to ask him.
And you're going to have time to ask him, Norm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Josh,
I like the whole ending it with tomorrow. So listen, if you're out there in the internet world, get your tickets. Go see Bret Michaels Band. Go see Night Rangers, Jefferson Starship, Steve Augeri, and Mark McGrath.
Got them all.
And you know what? You might also see me and Brent, and that will make your night. All right, Norm. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.